Hello and welcome to another interview. Today I'm talking to my friend Ruth Gilbey, who is the founder of the Online Business Blueprint. She helps struggling freelancers become thriving business owners, and that is exactly why I've got a soft spot for her, because I spent way too long as a struggling freelancer doing rubbish paying gigs on sites like People Per Hour, refusing to pay for any services because I was trying to use the free version of everything and kind of scraping together a few £100s a month. And after 5 years, I've managed to climb my way up to having a proper business. And then I had Ruth as a client. I was like, where were you 5 years ago? So welcome, Ruth. It is so lovely to be able to speak to you today.
I always love chatting to you, Laura. As you know, I think you did a masterclass for my membership, and then didn't we chat for about 2 hours after that, putting the world to right? So I'll try and be succinct today.
It's like, this is immediately going with a bit woo, but I get this feeling sometimes when you talk to people, it's like you've kind of danced before. So you feel like, oh, I feel like I know you a bit already, even though I don't. And this is the first time I've spoken to you. And we kind of had that vibe from the beginning. But maybe that was all those years of me calling out, going, please help me. I'm such a rubbish freelancer. I need someone to show me the way.
Yeah, I knew of you for a long time, actually, before we started working together as well, actually, before we'd actually spoken. I'd admired what you were doing as well, and you've been helping lots of people in my circle as well. So
it's funny how we can
all round.
We can like do this weird online dance where you see people for years from a distance, and the same name comes up over and over again. And then I see that like someone will comment on something on a Facebook post, and then later on they reply to an email, and then eventually you see their name in like the sales checkout. I think, yay, it works.
It does. It does. It does.
So I always feel like I got your business story in a slow reveal. So when I first started working with you on your February launch earlier this year, which does feel about 5 lifetimes ago, but it was this year. And I already admired like how consistent you were with your business and how much effort you put into kind of tightening up each launch and getting really clear on your marketing. And then a little while into working together, I found out you had twins, and they're relatively young, like primary school age twins. And I thought, well, that's amazing. You've already got like your hands full there. And then a little bit further down the line, I found out that you'd also been treated for cancer a few years ago, and you were managing that alongside having your business. So I wanted you to give us, like, you fill us in on that timeline so we can picture what was going on between starting your business and where you are right now.
Yeah, so it was, I've been a freelancer for a long time. And first of all, you know, when I started freelancing after I'd had kids, I was just looking for something that would fit in around anything. I literally was like, what is there? And I'd worked in businesses and worked my way up to like senior management, and I'd managed, you know, hundreds of people at one point, massive projects. Yeah, I'd really forgotten, I'd really lost my way, I'd really lost my identity, and really forgotten all those skills. I was dumbing down and totally dumbing down what I could do, because it was all around what will fit. What can I sort of fit in around the school run, the childcare, etc. And I actually remember someone suggesting Sainsbury's to me. Not that there's anything wrong with where anyone works, but I was thinking, how did I get here? You know, that I felt so limited by my options. And I actually remember an awful lot of time Googling, you know, looking for these miraculous part-time jobs or freelance contracts that you could do around your kids.
What had you done before you'd had children?
Yeah, so I worked in media for years. I was in TV, broadcast, I was in post-production and production for years, all different parts, but always customer facing, customer facing, production management roles, post-production management roles. And then I kind of moved my way up into managing a large post-production team. So it was editors, designers, dubbing mixers, runners, etc. All the kind of QC compliance, anything to do with transmission, etc. So lots of like process stuff going on, lots of recruitment, lots of projects. I mean, managing quite big channel launches as well. Interestingly, you know, thinking about that, oh yeah, managing launches, managing channel launches, you know, for pretty big contracts. And I got a real buzz out of it. I loved the team spirit. I love the getting everybody together, working towards a goal. I think I've always been quite driven by that, but it was never going to fit around having kids. I thought it would. I think a lot of us think that, oh yeah, I can fit things in around having kids, etc. But I couldn't see how it could translate. So I needed to, when I had my boys in 2011, and they were IVF, so there was quite a tricky road getting to that point as well. And I actually, being freelance, helped with that, with all those kind of appointments, etc. But when I had them, I was like, I've got to find something else. Really, and I looked around, and then I actually got the digital marketing bug in about 2014. I thought, well, I've got the marketing skills, I've got the sort of sales skills, the management skills, but I thought, oh yeah, I could do something with this, and start doing stuff for people from home.
And that was freelancing for people.
Yeah, I started freelancing for people. I actually started as a social media manager in 2015. I did a social media management course, and really just was like, wow, really got the bug for, this is amazing. I know it doesn't seem like that long ago, but I'm still quite new to social media then. I actually had to Google what a social media manager was. I was like, what is this thing, in 2015, which is amazing, really, isn't it? It's quite a new role. And I started doing social media management, and I was like, it felt quite, it's great. It's such a diverse job, I think, role, being a social media management. I mean, it's everything, isn't it? It's strategy, it's marketing, it's community management, it's content creation, it's copywriting. And it felt massive, and I thought, I've got to get a little bit more specific, really. I wanted to sort of niche down. And then I got the bigger digital marketing bug and learned about the big picture. I wanted to see where it fitted with everything.
This is why you're managing social media clients, and you were also building up like your vision of what your business would be for the next stage at the same time.
Actually, at that point, I was just thinking, oh, I just want to be able to offer more services to my clients. I wasn't thinking like a business owner at all. I was just thinking about, and I had this, that's one of the big realizations I had, that I had this employee mindset that I'd carried over for years of working in corporates that I'm sure a lot of people have been through, that I just couldn't make that switch to seeing myself as a business owner. I just saw how can I fill my hours to make myself fill my hours to make myself give myself a salary.
100%. That's exactly. So the kids would go to school, and I would tidy up the house as quickly as possible. And my work hours were kind of set, and sit at the desk. And even if you didn't have anything to do, you'd find some way to be productive, or post on social media, or do something. And I was like that for years, of feeling like there was like this imaginary boss that didn't exist to tell me what to do. And I would just to sit and work to the hours that were available, and like the idea of having enough work to fill the time, rather than thinking actually you could just work less and charge more money, and do just the few jobs that you really love to a really high standard, and that income would be enough. You don't have to fill every waking day with work.
I've got busy, Is that making you money?
What made you be able to make that switch and to stop thinking like an employee?
Well, I started to I've always been quite ambitious, I suppose. I was people-pleasing, over-delivering, undercharging freelancer. I always say that about myself. I was like, how much more can I do for my clients? That's all I was thinking about. Learning more, offering more, etc. But that switch really started to come. I was starting to get a little bit frustrated in sort of 2017. I thought, how am I going to grow my business? And I kept thinking, okay, the next contract that comes, I'll outsource. The next contract that comes, I'll get some help. The next contract that comes, I'll then start focusing on the thing that's going to grow my business. I just kept saying that next contract. And I just was perpetually busy, so busy. I was working about 70 hours a week, and it was silly, and it was just that I thought more contracts would make me happier, for some reason. And I wasn't feeling very well at that point in 2017. There was something going on, and it had been for probably longer than I'd longer than I'd realised. I just was like feeling exhausted, and I thought it was like, oh, that's what it's like being a mum. You're just always tired, and just kept working, and then. That's when I actually felt a lump and realised that, oh, there's something, a lump in my breast, and went and got it checked out. And after, very quickly, they turned it around, found out that I had breast cancer. And that was why I was so tired, because I was just so run completely. They were like checking all my levels for everything else. And it's hard to know what came first, bit chicken and egg. Had I got run down? Did that affect me? Or was my body trying to fight the cancer, and it was making me tired, but like vitamin D levels were ridiculously low and iron levels were low, and I was just not in a very good state. And they were just like, how have you kind of been functioning, and that was a bit of a wake-up call. And then it didn't happen that quickly. I just thought, there's got to be another way. I really love what I'm doing, but I'm going to hate it if I don't do something about this. And it was actually during the treatment that I was approached by a group of women who said, could we run a charity event? Have I told you about this before?
No.
A group of women, a group of amazing women who said, we'd like to run a charity event and raise money for a charity of your choice. Because I'd gone online and told people that I had breast cancer, and got this kind of this quite overwhelming response. And actually, I'd never really been very visible before then either, so that was quite interesting. It was like my first taste of like, oh my goodness, it's my face out there, and it was my face without a lot of hair and not looking my best either. Anyway, they said, we'd love to do an event. We'd love to celebrate this group of women, this community of women. They were called the DM Collective, and it was one of the courses that I did, the Digital Mums course. And we'd like to do some event to celebrate the women in this group, because everybody always supported each other and looked after each other, and they were particularly supportive of me during that time. And I was like, okay, well, I knew I wanted to do fundraising, but I kind of thought it would happen after the cancer treatment. But during the cancer treatment, I worked on an event, and it just grew and grew and grew, this event. We had like sponsorship and a raffle, and I did a campaign, and it was called Ruth's Playlist, where you submitted a song to the playlist, because I was putting together a playlist for my surgery, because my surgery was going to be 9 hours long.
Oh my goodness.
And it kind of, like, this campaign, it just kind of blew up. People had submitted so many songs. I was like, just, donate £1, submit a song. We raised £8,000
wow.
For charity.
That's a long playlist.
Yeah, it was a long old play. Yeah. It was longer than 9 hours of playlist. We raised £8,000. We put on an amazing event. We had an awards ceremony for the women in the community, and it was £8,000. And that, I think at that point I was like, okay, this is what it feels like actually to not be behind the computer, to not be behind my laptop, and actually it was a taste of like just being visible, I think. And I thought, I can't really go back to hiding behind my laptop and kind of like just going into my little cave as a freelancer anymore. I've got to make a change in my business, and I've got to not be frightened anymore. If I can do this, if I can get through cancer and do that. I mean, I was literally had my last chemotherapy, and then the event was like a week later. So if I can do that, I can I felt like, you know, I can't really be frightened anymore of like having my own business.
And that's made me think like something that I'd not considered about freelancing before. But I was like that, wanting to be really anonymous. So I freelanced I didn't even have any contact with the end clients. I freelanced for digital marketing agencies, website design agencies. So it's like I didn't exist. But I kind of liked that. So I never had to speak to the client. I didn't get the client brief. There was someone in the middle taking care of that, and it was completely anonymous, and that felt so safe, but at the same time was not a tiny bit fulfilling, because actually it's really nice to speak to your clients and get to know them and like really, you know, understand how their business works, and for them to know who's done the work. And just you saying that, I think, oh, I get that, actually, that you've shrugged off that anonymity that you had before as a freelancer, and then you couldn't go back in the shadows, go back to being this hidden person that does the work but nobody knows you exist.
Yeah, 100%. I think the other big realization I had was that I thought I didn't know how to grow a business, and then I was like, hang on a minute, let's have a look at the evidence here. Okay, so you're working with these businesses and you've implemented these marketing strategies, and they've actually become like 6-7 figure businesses. So I think you do know how to grow your own business and like be, you know, I just started to do I thought, you've got the skills, you know what to do, you're just not doing it for your own business. And I was always encouraging my clients, I was coaching them to think bigger about their businesses, to play bigger, to look for the opportunities, to push themselves, you know, encouraging people to launch a podcast or write a book and like raise their profile. I was like very good at like telling people what to do.
Was that your social media clients? Like when you were already going way beyond.
Pardon? Oh yeah,
way beyond what you were supposed to do.
I didn't realise that. I didn't realise that that's not what people did, and that I was actually acting as a business coach. Until it was kind of replayed back to me, and my client, actually, one of my clients actually, who's been amazing, just replayed it to me, and she said, my business wouldn't be here and wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for you. And she was actually in the courses space and an author. And when I started out with her, we would put her courses out there and it would be crickets. And then by the end of me working with her, it was like upsold, you know, and it was amazing. We just built this amazing community and really built her business. I was like, I need to do that for my own business. You know?
So how did you make that transition from having like ongoing social media clients? Did you just like sack them all overnight and then launch a new program?
No, I was really resistant to having a course actually in a program for a long time. And they often say, don't they, the thing that you're resisting the most is probably the thing you need to do. You know, I was like, I can't do this. Everybody's doing it. You know, everybody's doing it. Yeah, it feels like that, but it was just, no, it's not true. It's, you know, it's a growing industry, and I was depriving myself of not allowing myself to go there. So I actually did a coaching diploma after I finished my treatment. I did a coaching diploma because I realized I'd been coaching people. So first of all, it was like, no, let's just add coaching to the mix and, you know, be officially trained in it. And I learned what I learned from that coaching diploma was so much more than learning how to be a coach. It was just huge, like, oh, okay, this is how you communicate with people. This is where I want to be personally. It was a lot of self-development during that time. What was your question? I'm sorry, I've lost. I
was saying, did you so I'm imagining you've got this list of clients and then you just sack them all overnight and then launch this program and you're good to go.
No, it was, what I did was I spoke to my clients and I said, look, I'm growing my business, and they were really excited for me because I have lovely clients. And I said, I'm going to take on some help so I can still, you know, work with you and launch, you know, grow my business. I was just really transparent with them. And I know this is a big thing for people actually, that they wonder how their clients are going to feel about that. But my clients actually saw it as a benefit rather than a negative. They were like, as long as it's got your stamp of approval, as long as it's still you working on it, as long as we talk to you, I actually think it's great you're growing your business. I know my business is growing, so you can grow with me. So I just kind of stopped really taking on clients where it was like I was doing the done for you service, and it moved more towards consultancy and one-to-one, and then developed into the kind of group coaching and online courses. So it was like a steady kind of growth, but it's interesting. Yeah.
It's like a shuffle rather than a leap.
Yeah, and I think when you're making that step, I always say to people, you've got to make sure it's in your timeline as well, because you can get very excited and think, right, I'm going to just like bin all my clients, you know, and make this leap. And that's really brave, but it's got to be, you know, realistically, we need to pay the bills still, etc. But there is a good kind of like hybrid or kind of like in between way you can do it. And it got me used to outsourcing and working with other people and bringing people on. So I sort of started working with other people, and they helped me with the things with my business as well. So I just have an amazing group of contractors, a brilliant online business manager, which has been life-changing. Wish I'd done it sooner. That's like helped me take my business to the next level.
How did you find those people to help you out?
I've just got an amazing network, just absolutely amazing network. A lot of them from the DM Collective, that community of women, just incredibly talented women in there, and everybody kind of collaborates and supports each other. And then from just the online networking and just getting to know people, really, just that's what's happened.
And how did you decide what's the first things that you could outsource to someone else, or that you wanted to bring someone in to support you with?
Interestingly, my social media management, well, not my social media management, interestingly, well, not my social media management, every post is me, it's my written post, but what I started to do is right, here are all my posts for the month, create some, you know, schedule them in for me. And I was like, I wanted to not schedule anymore. That was one of the first things. I like, it's my words, etc. But I didn't want to be the one kind of creating every single Canva image, etc., and scheduling it. So that was one of the big things. I'm trying to think of other things. Website updates. Was forever tinkering with my website. So getting help with my website ongoing. I always say your website's never done. It isn't, is it?
It's not. It's like the saddest news that I ever give anyone when they finish writing their website. I'm like, congratulations, today your website is done for today. Tomorrow there'll probably be something that needs updating, because we change. I think that's the benefit of being self-employed, is we can change really quickly, and we come up with new ideas that we want to put out there, or new free content or new way of doing things. But the website is so static that you have got to be able to react really quickly and update that content yourself, or have someone on board who's going to be really fast. Otherwise, it only takes 2 or 3 weeks and it starts to be a bit crusty and not helpful. And then, you know, when you start doing your sales by deliberately avoiding giving out your website address, I don't know if you've ever been there. You're like, oh no, don't look at the website, let me just DM you all of the information that you need to know on how to work with me.
I know some website designers who are like, don't want to show their website either because they're too busy doing everybody else's. But yeah, it's never done. And I think it's really good actually to be able to at least go in and change a few words if you want to. I always say that, just don't be scared of your website and the tech. Just at least know how, if you wanted to like quickly change something, that you can do that. But yeah, so some of the kind of like marketing assisting kind of jobs and scheduling and my website, I mean, there's always something to do, isn't there? The list is, when you're growing your business, there's always something.
It's interesting that the things that you've picked to outsource early on are what I like. So as a freelancer, they're the stuff that you can do that you're not visible. You can do that, you can hide, and you're anonymous while you're tinkering with your website. And then now you're front and center, like you're front of house. You want to spend as much of your time and energy doing that kind of work. And so the stuff that isn't visible, that doesn't have to be you, where it doesn't have to have your particular stamp on it, that's the stuff that you can get rid of, and or not get rid of, but have someone come and help you with it.
Yeah, and I think that we also need to, that's an interesting that you've spotted that, but I think I'm always thinking, right, what else do I need to outsource? Because it's growing, you know, my business is growing. And actually, when I start to not be too busy to kind of respond to things or follow up with leads, I'm like, no, that I can't be too busy to be, you know, I always say if we're creatively avoiding revenue generating ideas or doing sales or being visible, then you know, and the things that are going to move the needle in our business, then we have to look at that. One, is there a kind of fear attached to it? Or two, are you thinking it's just going to be too much hard work, which is another fear in a way.
Do you find, are you good at sticking to certain working hours, or, you know, you notice if you're getting too busy, it's time to outsource? Is that because you have a strict schedule of hours that you work and you're not going to stretch to work anymore to respond to those emails and follow up those leads?
I'm a lot better than I was, but it's taken me to actually commit to changing habits, because I was in bad habits. I was terrible at telling myself a story that success meant you had to work hard. You know, that was the story that was going on in my head. So I would work till 9 o'clock, but now I have this thing where I finish at 6 now. And it really doesn't actually feel right if I work past it. It's like it physically doesn't feel right now, and it doesn't feel right to work at the weekend. I'm not saying I don't break those rules, but I used to be, just working any old time. But you don't, I think I'm more effective and I actually get more done by allowing myself downtime and time with my family. And because I used to, you know, that everyone talks about work-life balance, and I think actually everything is connected. So we've got to love our work, we've got to love our downtime, but having connections and seeing people and being happy and spending time with family and getting exercise and going outside is actually going to make you a better business owner and show up and be more creative and show up with the right energy.
Yeah, and make the most of those hours when you are working, because you're in the right state and the right frame of mind to be able to be productive.
But that's when people used to say that to me. It felt like I'd go, yeah, but not really.
And then just ignore them.
I didn't believe it. You know, I really didn't believe it. It's taken a lot of, how long do they say it takes to change a habit? I think, is it 30 days?
Yeah, so not do it consistently every day for 30 days.
That's what I had to do. I had to say, to break this habit of working late and working at weekends, I've got to commit to doing it. And if it's not working, if I feel I can't work till 6, if I feel like I have to work later than 6, then be curious to why that's actually happening.
I've started looking at like what it is that I would do at those times as well, because the less so now, but definitely in the first few years, I'd get the fear because I wasn't making what I wanted to be making. And so you can't rest now, you can't stop, you need to keep going because you're not there yet, you need to keep going. And then I'd find myself and it'd be like 9 o'clock and I'm scrolling, trying to think of something to post on social media as if that's going to be the winner, that's going to get you to where you want to be. But it was lots of really like small disjointed tasks that, like hit and hope activities that you'd hope that it had come to something, but it wasn't part of an overall strategy that was designed to grow the business. And so it was more like time filling than anything that really needed to get done. And once I could see that, once I sort of almost needed to do the opposite of the 30 days, I needed to just watch it for 30 days, like keep making myself overwork, but watch what I was doing with that time. And then just look at it and go, that's just ridiculous. Like that's not a good use of your evening. And then I was more able to drop it and kind of catch myself. Like, if you want to work now, what is it that you really think needs to be done? And can that not wait till tomorrow?
I heard something recently, I think it was actually James Wedmore, he said everything is attached to a belief. And actually, I think when I was doing what you were just saying about, just one more post and one more this and one more that, and that's going to make a difference. I think it was, for me, it was feeding into that belief that to be successful, you need to work really, really hard. And you just keep me to doing lots and lots and lots of different things. And it was actually like, no, you need to get really clear on the things that are going to actually move your business forward, not just sort of go with everything and keep working hard.
It's like the casino machines. Like, I just want to pull the arm one more time. Like, let's just give it one more spin and hopefully this time this one will be the winner.
Yeah, 100%.
So you've painted a relatively straightforward journey there. I mean, illness aside and balancing twins as well. Were there any times during that you thought, this is just not worth it? I don't want to run my own business. I don't want to work, or I'll go back and get a normal job.
Oh, I still get that, but less now. But I had this realization actually that, you know, I mean, so when was it that I made the big changes? Kind of, gosh, it was only really sort of end of 2018, beginning of 2019 that I made these big changes. And when I started to be more visible and put myself out there as a coach and put my program out there, I got incredible imposter syndrome. And I was like, okay, that's what imposter syndrome is. And then I got curious to why I'd never had imposter syndrome before. Because people had talked about it. I was like, yeah. And I'd be like, I don't really know what it is. And it's because I've been totally in my comfort zone. And that was huge for me. I was like, this is imposter syndrome. This is scary.
Even in your old job, which sounds like I would be constantly in fear and feeling imposter syndrome if I was in that kind of fast-paced environment where lots of people are relying on you.
Not really. I never really had it. I'm not trying, that's not me being big-headed or anything. I've really had it over the last 18 months, really experienced it. I don't know why. I think it's because I was always working for someone else. It was always someone else's business. And for me, the attachment to it being mine is different. It's harder when you're close to it, I think, when it's your own business and when it's you putting yourself out there. Maybe I touched on imposter syndrome, but not on the scale of this, where I was like, I remember I used to say to my husband, can I just not do it anymore? Can I just stop now? Do I have to go and do a Facebook Live? Do I have to do that webinar? Do I have to launch again? You know, I'd be like, he was like, you say this every time that you launch, you know, that you don't want to do it. And it was just something I'd never done before. You know, putting myself out on camera and putting myself out there as, hey, this is me. I can teach you this. I can help you with this. I've never done that before.
Is it mostly launches when it comes up for you?
I think launches has been, if I'm really honest, launches has been my Everest. But each time it does get easier. And I think that you've got to, for anyone who's, I don't want to terrify people when it comes to launches, it's not the same for everybody. I would say launch your way. I don't want to scare anyone off launching, but I think maybe it's the attachment. It was the attachment to selling. It felt like selling. And I've had to make that change that, no, how many people can I help by them joining my program?
You're just letting them know it exists. That's a polite thing to do.
Yeah, no, exactly. Do you get?
I've struggled all the time with, why don't I just lie under this table here with a blanket and stay here with some gin for a really long time? And I've not really ever spotted any kind of pattern to it. I think more so with me, it's like after the event. So right. The fear. So if it's speaking, I mean, I've done one live speaking event and I've done a few online things where there's like hundreds of people there. I'm all right. I didn't get the fear before, which I thought I would, and I can do it and it's all fine. And then people say lovely things to me. And then I always call this like I'm a potato feeling. I had to give it, and it's gone on for so long that I feel like a potato, and then I know that I'm making up this thing in my head. So you know when you when you see people, I know this sounds really horrible and judgy, but sometimes you see people out, they're wearing a dress and it's not that flattering. This person could be me. And you just imagine like they've asked the people that they love and they've gone, yeah, go for it, that's amazing.
So you're sort of questioning yourself, were they just lying to
Yeah,
me?
and so I think like I'm wearing a dress and you've all gone like, this is amazing, but actually I look like a potato in a sock. but you've all gone like, this is amazing. And so I just think everyone's just saying it to be nice, and then I get around this circular loop of like, well, what's wrong with people liking you? Like, what, can't you accept that they're friends? Or no, if they're friends then it's not real feedback. And so it just goes round the loop where there's no way of winning. And then probably the best thing is just to take a break and take a nap. But I find it's not before the event, it's after. I discount myself after something. So if I get good feedback, I'll discount myself straight away afterwards and say like, oh, that was just a fluke, or no, they don't know what they're talking about. So it's, and I haven't really figured out a way to ride it apart from just noticing like that's what it is and that's what happens, and not paying too much attention to it. And it doesn't stop me from saying yes to doing other things, I think, because I'm like a glutton for punishment. I think everything seems like a good idea at the time, so I just go, yeah, let's do that, that's fantastic. And then 3 months later, as the date edges near, I think, why have you done this to yourself again? You know how you're going to feel in the morning.
Yeah, I think for me it's slightly different, that I used to attach the wrong thing to launching. I don't so much anymore. I used to attach a kind of like, oh, I want to hit this. It was the overachiever in me again. Like, I want to hit this milestone, and you can get caught up with what's going on online.
Was it a totally made up milestones? Because I definitely do that, where like, I'd like to sell this many places, or I'd like to make this much money, and then if it doesn't happen, I look at it and go, what was that number based on exactly? Yeah. Just like plucked out of thin air.
I think, and also it's like, maybe be realistic to like the size of your list, because like 1% of people are gonna, isn't it, 1% of people buy from, that's the stat, that 1% of people will buy from your list. So you know, I'm sure you have smashed that, and so have I. That's but funny. We're looking for that. We're looking for the, oh, you know, we want this figure or to hit this target. And the thing that has been really pivotal for me was, I used to be this person who was very up and down, you know, very like highs and lows. And I, through self-coaching, self-development and being coached, I operate more now. I know it sounds really woo, but I do operate more from a place of gratitude. Like, I really am grateful for where I am now and what I'm learning. Whereas before it was more about, what's the outcome? What's the result? What can I get from that? How many people can I get in my program? It's like, I'm so grateful that I've got the opportunity to do this. I'm so grateful that I get to do something I love. I'm so grateful I get to help all these amazing people. I'm so grateful I get to learn as I grow my business. I mean, I was always a bit like, oh, I'm not an entrepreneur, but I am. And entrepreneurship, I love being an entrepreneur. I love how I would never have experienced this and learned so much about psychology and business and other people if I hadn't have done this. I think it just makes me a better human being, a better parent, and a better role model.
That's I love what I've learned through the journey of being self-employed, has been like, that's been the biggest thing. It's not the money, or being at home is great, but it's the everything that I've learned along the way. And I think I never would have got this. Like, there was no in-house training program in my old corporate job that was going to teach me the stuff that I've learned over the last few years. No, and we're not. You know, I wasn't taught that at school. I wasn't taught how to be a business owner or entrepreneurship or anything like that. We were taught, weren't we, to how to get, you know, how to get a job. So we have to unlearn a lot. And I think being always saying, if we always say I know enough, then we're like kind of stopping ourselves. It's great to not know everything and learn more, but to take action anyway. And like, action, yeah. But what I mean by that is by saying that there's a lesson in everything that we're doing, not by, even though I sell a course, not by doing courses all the time, but by learning through doing and taking action, and that, and actually unlearning, being open to saying what has got me here isn't going to get me there. You know, that's been quite powerful. That brings us right back to what we were saying at the start, because we were conditioned to think we've got to work a certain number, you know, for it to count as a proper job, you have to work a certain number of hours in a certain way, sat at a desk. And that was like the first thing to unlearn, wasn't it? Like, no, that's not what it doesn't have to look like employment. It can look like something completely different. But, you know, we don't know that, do we? We don't know. I didn't know what employee mindset was, or playing small in my business was.
until I've started to just hit this resistance. And I think, and, you know, going through something massive that was, you know, being critically ill made me really look at things like, okay, do I want to continue doing it that way, or do I want to do it a different way now?
Do you think that kind of accelerated you getting to that moment? Would you have got there anyway, do you think?
I'm not sure, because actually, interestingly, you know, I don't know. I hope so. I was really battling with it. I was wrestling with it for a long time, talking myself out of it, talking myself out of, I'm not going to do that course that I knew that would grow my business. I'm not going to invest in outsourcing. You know, what was I frightened of? I was just always thinking about, oh no, that's going to hit the bottom line of my business. But yeah, I don't know if I would, maybe I would have got here, but maybe not as quickly, because it happened quite quickly because of it. It's accelerated quite quickly. And then I was just on a roll. I was like, right, this is amazing. I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. I've been so bored and frustrated. Really, if I look back, I haven't been tapping into my full potential. And this is just, it's great to sort of each week go, I'm different to how I was last week. You know, that's just such a great feeling.
Can you see that as you do, because you do multiple launches every year of the same program, don't you?
It's not just through launching, it's through everything that I'm doing, really. Everything that I'm doing behind the scenes as well in my business, everything that I put into my business and outsource, and, you know, because I've got a team of people that I work with, the coaching, the one-to-one coaching, everything. I am a lifelong learner. I am always doing a course myself as well. So that is I find that a real privilege that I can do that. I used to think, oh, it's another course, it's going to cost me money. Now I'm like, how amazing, you know, that, I mean, your membership and so many people's, I mean, you know, learning through you over the last 6 months, what I've learned about copywriting is just like, if I look back at my copy a year ago compared to now, I mean, someone said to me about my posts actually on social media, do you get a copywriter to write them? And I was like, no, it's me. And it's just from taking action and committing to it. And I think also just saying, oh, I'll put it out there and see what people think, kind of thing as well.
You definitely do. You're a fast learner, though, from, you know, it doesn't take you many goes to get it better and better each time. So it's really interesting. That's not just in copywriting, that's like across the board in everything that you've touched on in your business. Just have that appetite for learning and improving all the time.
Do you know, you learn, the most you learn is actually by teaching others as well.
Is it?
Yeah, you retain, sorry, I can't speak all of a sudden. You retain like 90% of the information if you teach someone it.
Oh, that's interesting. That's another vote for me to keep doing the swipe file videos then. If I keep doing these breakdowns of what's making this page really good, then that would just ingrain itself in my brain even more.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to teach someone this, but how can I make it a bit better? Or like, what can I dig a bit deeper into so you push yourself more? So I think that creating courses and being a course creator and creating content and blogging, and, you know, that's going to push us forward, our learning as well.
It has been so interesting. We know we could go for 2 hours because we've done it before. But that's probably going to be too long for everyone else to listen to. For the people who want to find out more about you, where's the best place for them to see you?
I guess I'm hanging out on Instagram actually most of the time now. I'm at Ruth_Gilbey. So yes, you know, connect with me. Let's have a chat. Tell me about your business. Yeah.
I need to come and look at what you post on Instagram, because I still have the Instagram visibility fear of, like, every day I'm a blank one. There's nothing today that I could share that was of any interest to anybody. So I need to go and have a look at what you're doing. I'm
not a master of Instagram. It's funny because I say to my community, don't chase the next shiny red thing. Just keep using it. You know, just keep getting yourself out there. And we're all trying to get our head around reels at the moment. But I do consistently show up. It might not be perfect, but I show up.
I guess that's how you learn what works, though, isn't it? If you should just keep putting something out, something that you think might be really lame and, oh, I'm not sure this is worth posting, you might get a really good reaction. So that's a lesson to me. I'm going to go and see what you're doing and then come up with my own game plan to be less of a scaredy cat.
I'll hold you accountable to that.
Thanks. Well, the first thing I do is post a screenshot of this. So that's today's post sorted.
Brilliant. Oh, it's lovely chatting to you. Thank you for having me.
It's lovely. Thanks very much, Ruth.